A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Paloma Rao, and I will be your host for today. Before we begin, just a small reminder for everyone to please make sure that your mobile phones are on silent mode. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been my honor to have been the anchor of this conclave right from the very beginning, a ringside view to what has been a fabulous journey. This conclave is truly one of a kind in many different ways, from its concept to its execution, and the absolutely amazing range of individuals we have seen on this stage over the years. I've had the pleasure of working closely with founder Dr. Renuka David and patron Colonel David, and can honestly say that this is more than just an event to them. It is a labor of love. Dr. Renuka has a heart for people, one that wants to make an impact and change lives for the better. The daughter of an Air Force officer, Dr. Renuka has traveled the length and breadth of India. She's been a frontier doctor and contract doctor with the Indian Army in charge of hospitals treating wounded soldiers, families of soldiers, and tribal women. She has the distinction of being the only person to have addressed the wives of all of the Air Force officers across the country during the COVID-19 pandemic. This year, ladies and gentlemen, is indeed unique in the history of the conclave as it is a tribute. In the summer of 1999, Pakistani regular troops intruded into the Kargil heights, occupying many strategic points and threatening our control over the Kashmir region. The Indian Army swung into action and evicted these intruders over a period of roughly 3 months in what is now known as the Kargil War. This year is the 25th anniversary of this conflict, and we have decided to use this platform of the Radiant Wellness Conclave to pay our respects to the brave heroes of this difficult war. So if we could start with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I would now like to welcome the chairman of the Radiant Group and our patron, Colonel David Devasahayam, to address us. But before that, a few brief words of introduction. Colonel David is an alumnus of the National Defense Academy and also the Harvard Business School. In an illustrious Army career of over 25 years, he has commanded 2 Assam Rifles Battalion and an Army training center. On taking voluntary retirement in 2005, he set up the enormously successful Radiant Group of companies, which has 5 firms, and also the recent fintech acquisition, Radiant Ace Money. He has the unique distinction of being the only former military officer of having started his company and taken it public in a remarkably short span of 17 years. A winner of many awards, he is a recipient of the Udyog Ratna and has been listed among the top 100 emerging business leaders of Asia in 2022, felicitated in the House of Lords, the UK Parliament, for entrepreneurial excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Please welcome on stage Colonel David Devasahayam.
Thank you, Paloma. Good morning, everybody. General VP Malik, a former Chief of the Army Staff. Dr. Shashi Tharoor, 4 times Member of Parliament from Thiruvananthapuram. Distinguished guests and speakers and panelists, ladies and gentlemen, and especially a very warm word of welcome for our cadets from the Officers Training Academy. It's an honor and pleasure to address such an august gathering of officers, ladies and gentlemen, at this very special occasion, special edition of the Radiant Wellness Conclave 2024. This corporate social responsibility initiative of the Radiant Group of Companies is a unique event, perhaps the only one of its kind in India. It was the brainchild of my wife, Dr. Renuka David, who has demonstrated an unwavering commitment towards preventive healthcare and raising awareness about non-communicable diseases. He believed these learnings were needed to reach a wider audience, and so the inaugural edition of the conclave was held in 2015. Since then, we have conducted it annually with some of the country's best thought leaders speaking on various topics. Of course, we had a gap during the COVID-19 years. So RWC 2024 will be the 7th conclave in 9 years. I would also at this time like to welcome a large number of online viewers, mainly students. As the event is being live streamed, so before we start, let's permit ourselves a moment of nostalgia and look at the conclaves gone by.
First ever Wellness Icon Award.
मैं चैलेंज करता हूं आप में से कोई मेरे साथ दौड़ के दिखा दे.
The one stumbling block becomes the choice, the hard choice that she has to make, which is I'm a mother and I have to sacrifice 5 to 7 years of my career.
The problem is when society at large defines that beauty, gives us the parameters of beauty and says, this is beautiful.
In the end, it was all just acceptance, being able to accept what I can do and what I cannot do.
In this beautiful country of ours, and I'm a living testimony, you don't have to stay where you are. Suppose you want to transit, you can. But at that point of time, look for inspirational stories.
I never thought that I would ever get to fly in space.
We realize that physical wellness gives you a sense of confidence, it gives you a sense of achievement, and no matter which path you take in life.
Yes, the trunk of the tree is visible to our eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, the crown of the tree is visible to our eyes, but the roots of the tree, which are underneath the soil, which are invisible to our eyes, is our inner development.
So it's drink your food and chew your water. So I said, what do you mean by that? They said, take a piece of spelt bread, chew it 40 times at least, till it becomes liquid.
In Britain today, Indian curry houses, as they're called, Indian restaurants in Britain, employ more people than the coal mining, iron and steel and shipbuilding industries combined.
Your competition is only with yourself. You have to trust in yourself. You just cannot compare yourself with anyone else because there's nobody else comparable when you believe in your cause.
Unless I have a very high fever, I play tennis and everything goes away.
For girls, I would say the courage is very important and the willingness to say no to those people and to those attitudes which say that you cannot do it.
Today we're talking about so many things. We're talking about economy, we're talking about growth. Beyond all that, there is a larger threat. That is the threat of environment.
Wellness, I think, as we all know, is an inside job. It's an inside job, but if we can radiate wellness and actually share it with others.
And there was Vikram who was lying in a coffin on a tricolor, and my father is instructing me that you lit the fire. And that day, the fear of death went away from me. Is what I learned from Vikram's loss.
So if you truly want to feel intellectually well, it's to feel satisfied that you at least tried to pursue your dreams.
So, quite a journey, you'll agree with me. This year, the theme of the conclave is extremely dear to us. We have chosen to commemorate the 25th year of the Kargil War. In 1998, just a year before the Kargil War, our unit, the 2nd Battalion of the 8th Gorkha Rifles, completed our 2 years in the Kashmir Valley in Kupwara in January 1999 and was de-inducted to another role in the Western Front. We were fortunate to serve under Lieutenant General Mohinder Puri, who took over 8th Mountain Division during our time and would later be one of the principal architects of our victory in the Kargil War. Today, it's a proud privilege to have him here with us. And for those of us who served under him, 8th Mountain Division would be forever in operations. For all of us who served under him, he consistently remains a leader, teacher, and mentor, even today. In what was probably one of the most abrasive wars in our history, with unparalleled bravery, this is our city's tribute to keep the memory of those sacrifices alive. Every year at the conclave, we focus on the 9 dimensions of wellness, each in a separate session. Today, for a largely online civilian audience, I would like to focus on the soldier of the Indian Armed Forces who epitomizes wellness in each of these 9 aspects. The Indian Armed Forces is an outstanding organization, and the soldier is the fulcrum and the most powerful asset of this organization. Everything centers around his or her well-being, from the success or failure of an operation to the security of our country and countless Indians. I know there were a lot of questions as to how the armed forces remain so fit and so ready for war. So I think I'll cover a bit about that. Most of you present here already know that the Defense Forces operates in very demanding physical and psychological environments and circumstances. They have to be in the best of health, but also need cognitive and emotional resilience to excel at their job. They have to be agile and in a constant state of readiness for war. It means an integrated approach to healthcare at every level has to be adopted. One aspect of preventive healthcare, which every soldier within the organization takes very seriously, the battle physical efficiency test and the physical proficiency test are conducted quarterly, and the results are included in the annual confidential reports. The BPT requires participants to run 5 kilometers, sprint 60 meters, climb a horizontal rope, climb a vertical rope, and cross a 9-foot ditch in the time allotted, depending on one's age. The physical proficiency test includes a 2.4 kilometer run, a 5 kilometer shuttle, push-ups, chin-ups, sit-ups, and a 100-meter sprint. You can see the level of fitness that a person is required to have. This level of fitness doesn't come overnight. It comes from constant discipline, practice, and dedication. The soldier's body is conditioned periodically to endure the hardships of war. I firmly believe, though, that the main source of the Indian soldier's mental and emotional resilience comes from within, from the community of soldiers around him and the camaraderie they share. In the Indian Army, the unit is a soldier's first home. With a strong leader and with each other's support, they feel they can conquer any adversity, and in this lies their greatest strength. This year's conclave would not have been possible without the careful planning and orchestration led by former Northern Army Commander and the Vice Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Devraj Anbu, an independent director of the Radiant Group today. I take this opportunity to thank him for his efforts. A special word of thanks to the conclave's mentor every year, the Member of Parliament, fourth time, no less, from Thiruvananthapuram, and prolific speaker and author, Dr. Shashi Tharoor. I'd also like to thank Barkha Dutt for her constant support over the years. As someone who brought updates on the Kargil War into our living rooms through her television reporting, we are fortunate to have her here with us today. She is quite a woman's icon. I really look up to her, and quite a role model for our countless young women. I also take this opportunity to thank the galaxy of eminent speakers who have found the time to attend and participate in this year's conclave. 2 weeks ago, Kargil Vijay Devas was celebrated. For me and countless other Indians, our victory in the Kargil War was a milestone moment. It was also one of the key indicators of what the Indian soldier is capable of when presented with a do-or-die mission. The kind of nerve and daring displayed is not easy. It involves forsaking the familiar and willingly moving into dangerous enemy territory, not knowing whether you're going to return safely to your unit or your family. And so today I would like to dedicate this edition of our conclave to every single soldier who fought in the war in 1999.